So let's move on to Marlon Wayans, the bigger picture, and we're going to address your reality TV production division. But before we do that, I mean, you have an incredibly complex career and set of activities. How would you categorize them? First of all, you're a writer, producer of incredibly successful films, particularly relative to the budget. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll move on to your other key activities, but fairly briefly.
I think in terms of films, I just overall, it's like I'm a guy that can do everything. And what do you do with the guy that can do everything? You do everything. Writing movies is something that I love to do. I think mentally and spiritually, it's just where I read "I'ma Get You Sucker" when I was 8 years old, and I laughed uncontrollably on my bed inside the projects, and I laughed so hard, and I called my brother up and crying and told him how funny I thought his script was, and that was the day I wanted to be a writer. That when I read my sister Kim, she did a thesis for her college. She went to Wesleyan, and I read her thesis, and it was so funny. I couldn't put it down. I was like, you know what? I want to write things that make people feel like this. I want to write, scripts, and I want to make people laugh with words and not just the physical actions. So when it comes to my low budget movies, we do a movie. We do it for Haunted House. We made for $1 million and $1.5 million. Made 60 something worldwide before you went to video and Netflix and DVD, and so it's gonna over time it's extremely successful. Even Haunted House 2, which we did for 3, wound up doing close to 30 million worldwide, and then when you get to video and all the other thing, everything else, all the other ancillaries, it's going to turn a really nice profit. And what I've learned, because I was spoiled in Hollywood, you have not even spoiled. When we did Scary Movie, we made that for $19 million, and it made close to $400 million worldwide. So we've always been guys that can take small budgets and turn them into big hits, because for us, the comedy isn't hugely expensive. I think it takes a lot of thought, and a lot of people think when you're doing comedy, it's just all fun and games and just silly stuff where you get high and you write a movie. No, you don't. You have to sit there and you really got to think, even though people may deem it as silly or it's a flatulent jokes or whatever, and it's true. Some of it is, but when you talk about putting together characters, putting them in situations, creating conflict, when you do parody, everything got to be funny. Every line on a page has to be funny. You're spitting out hundreds of jokes in one movie, and hoping that most of them land. So it's just the way I've been raised to make movies.
So as well as creating films, producing and acting them, you also are involved in television production.
Yes.
And scripted.
Yeah.
And are you still working in scripted now?
Yeah. We're constantly developing stuff for scripted, and this year I kind of took a break. Normally I try to create something for myself during television season, but I got so many movies and so many different reality projects that I'm trying to line up that right now I need to, and I'm working on my stand-up and doing a stand-up special, so something had to go. So this year I kind of took off of developing something scripted.
So let's talk about stand-up. Is that an extension of your brand, or is that a new passion that you found that came to that relatively recently? Is that right?
I started doing stand-up about 4 years ago to prepare for the role of Richard Pryor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to happen with the movie, but I fell in love with doing stand-up. Mm-hmm. And I started out wanting to play a great, and now I want to be a great. I just love the art of doing stand-up. And I know I've gotten as far as I've gotten with great teaching and with instincts, but doing stand-up all around the country and around the world. I've been to Kuwait, I've been to Dubai, I've performed in Australia.
Yeah.
I've toured Australia. So, I'm learning how to tell that one joke that makes the whole world laugh. The more you do it, the better you get. And I feel like this is more wind into my comedic sail. And I think that these are the years that I really start to hone my craft and really start to, I think, my greatest successes will probably and my most successful days are ahead of me.
So moving into reality production, you've set up Workaholic as a
Yes.
production company. Is that a brand issue where you're trying to extend the Marlon Wayans brand, or is it a creative issue where you want to create really successful entertainments, or something else?
I think it's a combination. I think it is an extension of the Marlon Wayans brand, but I also think that I wanted to separate it from what I do, because reality, it's its own flavor in itself. I'd like to focus right now on a lot of comedic reality, whether it be like Funniest Wins. To me, was it is like in behind the scenes of In Living Color. It's like watching how the creative mind works to put together a really funny sketch comedy show, and also to
And that's
find
on
that
TBS Network.
TBS
now.
Network, and to find that next generation of talent, the way Lorne Michaels found those in SNL, the way my brother Keenan found all of us on Living Color. Hopefully, Funniest Wins can be that that establishment within the network to farm that next generation of talent.
So for Workaholic, which is your reality production company, you have a team that is developing projects.
Yes.
Are you involved in the development
Absolutely.
process, or do they just tee them up to you and you tick them off?
We from concept to execution, all the way through. We have a great team though. Steve Harris, who's done spent many years at A&E Television, and he's had a long stint in reality. Heads up our reality division, and then Rick Alvarez, who's my producing partner. The three of us, we work like the three-headed beast, and we come up with ideas. Like Funniest Wins is an idea that I kind of kicked Steve, and me and him kind of beat it out, and was like, oh, well, if you did this, then, because I was like, why is it an American Idol for a comedian? And then I looked at what's the name of that show on NBC came out, Last Comic Standing came out, and I was like, that's not what I want to do. And I want to do something that works with the 360 of comedy, that challenges comedians in order to be truly successful, not just in stand-up. Because after a while, Last Comic Standing, I'm getting a little bored because it's the same material. It takes, it's not like you're being challenged in different arenas. And so I wanted to do something that challenged somebody in the writing, the creating, not just of stand-up, but in character, in sketch, and digital shorts, musical parodies, everything that you need to sustain and make it in this industry. If you look at guys like Will Ferrell, he's gonna have a long stay because he had a long stay on SNL. Jim Carrey had a long stay because he had that stay on Living Color, where you get to groom and learn and be nurtured. So it was important to me, and as a give back, it was my way to be a teacher.
Right. Now, do you pitch these shows yourself, or does your agent pitch them? And what's
No, I go in the room and I go talk to, for the most part. Sometimes Steve and Rick will go do it, but for the most part, I'm in the room and I'll pitch it. And when it comes to the idea, we go to lunch and we talk about the idea. If there's somebody that has an idea, we talk it through. We give notes. We go back and forth. It's a long process. It's just like creating a television show, scripted. I have one recently that I've been working on for my sisters. It's like the Braxtons, but with the Wayans sisters. It's, me, Sean, Keenan, and Damon. And Kim. We're known for what we do in terms of being the movie stars and TV stars. But my sisters are really funny girls, but they're reality stars. They're like three Nene Leakes. They're all so funny, and they're raw. And so, and they're 50 years old now, and their kids are grown, and they're going, what do I do at this point in my life? And I just thought that was interesting, because there's a lot of women who had children when they're young, and they're sitting there 50 years old going, what do I do with my life now that my kids are grown? Mm-hmm. Well, now it's time for you to start putting into you. And so the show is basically those three starting their business together, and what's their dynamics. And they're really, really funny.
And what's the state of that? It's being pitched now?
Being pitched right now.
And are you working with talent outside the family?
Absolutely. We constantly developing stuff outside the family and original ideas. I'm not one to talk about everything that I'm developing until I'm ready to go take it out to networks. I like to cook it in-house, taste it, and go, okay, this one's ready. And for the most part, we have good luck with setting stuff up. That show, My Sisters, is right now we're doing that with Evolution.
Good. So listen, we'll wrap up now, but you have a tremendous social media presence. Is that part of a strategy, and is it managed by you and your team, or is it just happenstance that 50 million people or whatever love you on Facebook?
A lot of people love me on Facebook, and I love them back. I'm involved, man. I tweet literally every day. When I tweet about my shows, that's me tweeting about the shows. I do my videos. People are like, why are you doing selfies? Because I take the pictures myself. I do everything myself. It's not like I got a guy carrying me or following me around with a camera. I do it myself. I like to be hands-on when it comes to my social media and talk to my people, because those are my fans, or those people that support me. And so I want to know what, I like to directly communicate with them as much as I can. But it was intentional for me to go find and be in touch with that audience, because that's where it's going nowadays. When you're a brand and you're trying to build a brand, it's like you're your own network nowadays. You're your own studio nowadays, and so it's important that you stay in contact with your captured audience.
Now, do you have a consultant that works with you on this, or is it really all in-house?
That's actually what I'm working on in the next month or two. I'm sitting with my agents over at CAA, and I just got a new manager over at 3 Arts. And so we're going to put the teams together and really figure out how to manage this and make it as successful as possible, because I feed them constant sketches and things through my digital network, What the Funny, but through my digital network, What the Funny, but I want to make sure that I'm doing the best that I can, so I'm working on tweaking that right now.
Marlon, this is great. We've done it. We've covered everything.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, bro.
That was great.